Your perception is your reality. So the way that you perceive the world, and so it is the way that the world will exist to you. So much of your interpretation can be changed, can be altered. My physical form is always something that I think everyone questions. And how do I learn to love it? How do I learn to connect with it, right? I think a lot about the way that I look. I talk badly to myself about my body. And whether that's been taught to me or whether that's me enhancing those thoughts by giving a fuck about how people perceive me, I don't know. If my perception of myself is that I am not thin enough, my hair is not long enough, my skin is not clear enough, then so be it. My body will physiologically manifest those things. I will hold on to stress and I will hold on to weight. I will produce cortisol in my body, which will show itself as acne on my skin. I will lose hair when I'm in the shower. My body will physiologically respond to the thoughts that I feed it, fact. And I will walk around the world, I will show myself to people with an aura, an air, an energy of a lack of confidence, of a lack of loving myself, which is very clear when someone walks around and you can tell that they're uncomfortable in their own skin, they're uncomfortable in their own body. If I start changing the way that I talk to myself and I say, instead of "God, my thighs are so big," it's "These thighs, these legs have taken me through oceans, up mountains, across countries and continents. My hair being so thin, this hair can be curled and styled and worn in many different ways. My skin sees the sun and feels the breeze. My body nourishes me in ways that I can't even express. And with that being said, then you walk around the world and your shoulders are held high. You start to interpret the world differently. Your reality becomes different because you love yourself. You love what your body does for you, not what it looks like. For those who are deep enough to get it,
but profound enough to not care,
you're listening to Consciously Unconscious. What? This is crazy, being alone, doing my own pod. Welcome back to Consciously Unconscious. I'm Jessa, and I'm just Jessa today. Amanda's not here. I'm recording from the same place that I recorded last virtual episode with Amanda, which is my parents' tiny home. I'm in upstate New York, which is where I'm from. If you have listened to all the episodes, you know that I'm a New York girl through and through. But when I say New York, I always have to specify not New York City, Western New York. People are like, "Oh my God, how close are you to the city? That's amazing. You must have spent so much time in Manhattan." Bitch, I've been twice in my life. Upstate New York, Finger Lakes region, baby, wine country. I guess we're known, which I just learned, we're known for our Chardonnay. So come get yourself a glass. If I was more prepared and it wasn't 9 a.m., I would be drinking Chardonnay for beverage of the week, but I'm not. So we'll tell you what we got going on later. But yeah, my parents have lived here. This is where I was born and raised. Obviously, my parents have lived here ever since. My brother and I have since moved, and coming back is always so nostalgic. And oftentimes when I come back, I get a little bit of anxiety because I think that maybe there's certain times where I think maybe I had my nose held a little high for too long about leaving and coming back, and feeling like potentially that put me on some level of hierarchy where I was quote unquote better than the people who stayed here. And I think this is the first time that I've come back in a long time. I mean, I don't come back often, but the first time that I've come back in a long time where I've just been wait, to each their fucking own, first of all. And second of all, what a happy, healthy, lovely life to live if this is your choice. So I think I'm just seeing it so differently this time around. And I love to see the output of my parents' creative input. I don't even know if that made sense, but the output of this tiny home, they've been working on this tiny home. They bought some property on the lake a couple years ago, and they built a 500 square foot little baby Scandinavian tiny home with a sauna outside, a big deck. I mean, I'm looking out onto the lake right now and all this greenery and trees, and what a cool thing it's been to watch them kind of put themselves into this project later in life. And it's put a lot of perspective just out into the ether for me about phases of your life and how things change, and the nostalgia of me coming back here and having all these childhood memories like flash in front of my eyes about homecoming and soccer and prom and playing in the woods in my backyard. I mean, all of these things like rush back to you. And they're really beautiful, beautiful memories that almost they feel so close to you, but simultaneously so distant. I don't know if anyone else feels that way, but like I almost do and don't identify that those things were me. Like that little girl was me. It's just so funny. So thinking about my parents growing into this phase later in life where they're completely having this rebirth, they're reinventing themselves as they slow down from work, and they obviously don't have kids in the house anymore, no grandkids yet. And they're just like, all right, how do we want to spend our time? What do we really want to do with our life and our time? And watching them have this sense of creativity and this sense of, like I said, output of their creative ideas and their visions is really cool. And then I get to come home and reap the benefits. I've been absolutely fucking baking in the sauna every hour of every day. If there's something that I'm addicted to, it's the sauna. It's a sauna. It's a good detoxifying sweat. And I will sit in that thing and I will roast and roast and roast. And you know what? That's a new thing for me, because growing up and just like in life, you know how people ask you, would you rather have no arms or no legs? Maybe that's a me question. Whenever I'm drunk, I'm always like, all right, question for the table. Would you rather no arms or no legs? But the other question that I'm sure you've been asked, and if you haven't been asked, I'll ask you now, would you rather be hot or cold? No, you can't layer up. No, you can't take layers off. You're just permanently extremely cold or permanently extremely hot. My answer was always I'd rather be cold, because I do not do well in the heat. Like, I panic in the heat. At one point, actually, anecdotally, in college, I had to go to therapy. This was my first time actually seeing a literal therapist, I think, because I had excessive sweating problems. And mostly what I found out was that it was social anxiety, which expressed itself as excessive sweating. But like, I would panic in situations where I maybe felt like claustrophobic or uncomfortable or awkward, or I don't know, whatever, just a deeper feeling of discomfort. And my body would react by excessive sweating. And that was so fucking embarrassing to me. That was so embarrassing to me. And then the second that I identified it and started noticing, oh my God, girl, you're dripping fucking sweat. Everyone's noticing, everyone's looking at you. It's dripping down. You have upper lip sweat. You have armpit sweat. It's dripping down your forehead. Your hair is wet. Oh my God, I would spiral. I would panic, and I would have to Irish goodbye every situation. But I remember I went to school at University of New Hampshire, and I remember walking myself across campus in like fall weather. So cold, chilly boots, jackets, like you're layered up. The energy that I exerted to get there, first of all, created heat in my body. And then I would get to class and I would have to climb in these tiny little auditorium lecture row seats. And I felt so claustrophobic. I felt so nervous about who I was going to sit next to. Like, I was just anxious about going to class. And then I would flip the fuck out and have a sweating attack. So, full circle, never liked being hot because it was a trigger for me. It was a trigger for me where like anxiety was being tangibly expressed. And now I'm friends with the heat. I love her. When I have a choice. And that's also funny because like everybody loves change. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody has those days. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. Everybody loves change or loves things that they get to control. Like, I'm realizing now that I'm saying it is, of course I love the heat when I get to choose to be in it, because I know exactly how to react. I can predict what's coming. I can predict how I'm going to feel, and I can remove myself from it at any time. But everybody hates things that they don't get to control. That's a fact. So how do we become a little bit more open to just allowing life to take its course? That's been a big lesson of mine throughout this summer and just in life recently. My spiritual, emotional, mental training that I've been doing, my boot camps, is releasing control. We talk about that a lot on this podcast, is letting go of having such a tight fucking grip on life, because there are so many things in the category of not being able to control. And yeah, I mean, I think life just continues to throw things at you that are immediate tests of how well do you practice what you preach. And we'll get more into that. But first, I'd like to get through beverage of the week, because I got to sing for you guys. This morning, I woke up at my parents' house, drove on over here, and I brought with me my beverage of the week. I have no idea how it correlates to this week's episode. So let me think of something right quick, because the beverage of the week is a strawberries and cream digestive enzyme, like latte alternative. Went to Whole Foods the other day. Obviously, when you go to Whole Foods with your parents, life is good because baby girl isn't touching the card. Our total, I mean, okay, fuck you, Jeff Bezos. I'm sorry that I still use Amazon, and I'm sorry that I still use Whole Foods, because unfortunately, like, I just do. I'm going to try to limit my usage as much as I can, but $273 for like a small cart worth of bullshit. Anywho, whatsy. This is one of the things in the cart, and I haven't tried it yet, but I guess where I can go with how that's on point, on theme, is that in recent years, probably like a year, 2 years, my palate has completely changed. Yeah, my whole palate. I never used to like sweet stuff. Like, I could sit in front of a tray of brownies. I could sit in front of cookies. I could just be fucking chilling in front of ice cream and not even want a little nibble. Something has come over me. The glutton monster, the sweet monster has taken me over, and now I understand. I empathize with you. I feel you. I see you. If you're a sweet tooth, I get it. It's an actual addiction. It's an addiction. Now, every single time I have a savory meal, I look forward to my sweet treat at the end. So never in my life would I have picked a strawberries and cream flavor until lately. So here she is. And for that, there's only one song, and I hope that you can guess it before I sing it. Berries and cream, berries and cream. Wait, how does it go? Berries and cream. No, that doesn't sound right. The berries and cream song. Berries and cream, berries and cream. No, I don't know. Berries and cream. You get the gist, okay? Whatever. That's as far as I'm going singing by myself today. Let's take a sip. Oh, my mug's broken. Can't take a sip even if I wanted to. Oh, fuck, it's hot. Oh, that is so good. It's almost like if you put it over ice, it could be like a milkshake, smoothie. Anyways, hopefully this helps my digestion, because baby girl's been going the fuck through it. One more sip. You know, when you take a sip of something hot and it completely just like floods your whole body from the throat down, like you can feel the heat move from your throat down. I went the other day, without getting too far into it, to get a couple scans, just things, just a couple scans at the hospital. I'm okay, everything's fine. But I had to get a CAT scan, and what they do when you get a CAT scan is they put a bunch of dye in you. Like, you get an IV, obviously, and then they have to put dye that lights up on the scan through the IV. And when they put something in your bloodstream, you can feel it instantaneously. You can feel it immediately in your whole body. And the woman was like, yeah, we're going to put this dye in you. And it's really warm. You're going to feel it in your throat. You're going to feel just like really warm from the inside out. You might get a little sweaty, trigger for me. And then you're maybe going to feel like you have to pee your pants. And it is the most strange feeling in the world, is like to heat from the inside out. Okay, so maybe we're uncovering something, talking a lot about heat, talking a lot about sweat. We are in the heat of summer. I just had my birthday. I'm 28 years motherfucking old. And that's crazy because I think that you never actually realize how old you are. And the older you get, the more you realize that we're all just figuring it out as we go. And so I think I've decided right now that on the spot, maybe this episode will be filled with things that I've learned in my 28 years. And they're just going to come off the rip. I did no prep, no planning. When Amanda told me that I was like queued up to record a solo episode, I was like, yeah, I'll find a good topic. I'll write some notes down. And in typical Jessa fashion, no. No. I'm just going to get on a mic and I'm just going to rip it. I'm going to see what comes out. And I've decided that 28 years of life, maybe that's the first rule, is like, let it rip. The more you plan, sometimes the less prepared you are. So that goes back to maybe the control thing, is that I've noticed, and this is to each their own, again, like what works for you. I'm giving my life lessons, but I've noticed that the more I'm attached to my plans or my preparation, the less organic and in the moment I am. So to give this a tangible example, let's say that I'm moving into the yoga room, which is an example that I often give is my experience in front of a yoga classroom. Because that's really where I feel most me, is sharing, giving, guiding, leading, teaching. And if I take too long to prepare for a class, if I write out the sequence, if I prepare the music so it aligns exactly with when I'm moving people through specific postures, if I go in trying to hold on to some semblance of like, this is exactly what I've written and this is what I must do, I lose all form of presence. I lose all form of intuitively dropping into the space, into the moment, because I'm so focused and I'm so set on adhering to the conditions that I've written for myself, adhering to the instructions and the plans that I've created for myself, which, don't get me wrong, like this is a double-edged sword, right? Because preparation is good, and allowing yourself to plan and have goals and set like markers and milestones for yourself that you want to achieve is really powerful. But I've noticed that the more I just kind of fly by the seat of my pants, the more I'm able to drop in and be organic and be intuitive and be open and be in flow. And what that takes is a huge trust that you can. And the first couple times that I think you do that, whether it's in front of a yoga room or whether it's like on a first date, I mean, I used to think about the times where maybe I was going on a first date and I was like writing questions in my notepad, or I was like getting nervous that I wouldn't have anything to say. Or, I mean, yeah, if you're going to law school, definitely prepare your shit, okay? I'm not a law student, But I do think that you know more than you think you know. And you only have access to those spaces in yourself if you're not so attached to thinking that you need external information or external planning or external preparation. The more you release, the more you actually allow. And that is a really, really important lesson that I've learned is, yeah, fly by the seat of your pants. Fly by the seat of your pants. Just let it rip and trust yourself. Trust that what is it that most people say? You're not I'm gonna mess it up. You're not discovering new things. You're uncovering things that you already know about yourself, or you've already known, or you already have the information and the wisdom for. We are such powerful, intuitive, conscious beings that if we just give ourselves an opportunity to let that part shine, then it will speak for itself. It will do the teaching for you. It will do the testing for you. It will do the talking on the first date for you. And not that it's a separate entity, like that is you, right? That level of like intuition that we keep talking about is you, but you have to give it space to shine. You have to give it space to express. And so it almost helps to personify that part of yourself. And maybe that leads to my second word of advice. My second 28-year-old lesson, or maybe something that I've been working on, is like personifying parts of my being. And that sounds really funky and woo-woo and weird, but one of the things that I've been doing is womb healing. Yeah, here we go. A lot of you are going to be like, all right, I'm done with this episode. I'm fucking turning it off, talking about healing your womb. Or healing any part of your body, or getting in touch or in tune with any part of your body. Let's say you have a pulled hamstring. Let's say you have a broken toe. Let's say you have something that you want to get in touch with, or you just want to give a little bit more love and attention to. And I've been personifying and talking to specific parts of my body as if they have their own consciousness and they have their own feelings. So, again, to put it in a tangible example, my womb space is literally a portal to different states of consciousness, to life, to extreme generational and ancestral knowledge and wisdom. And I don't need to get into womb healing specifically, but this is more so supposed to be a point of speaking to parts of yourself as if they're a friend to you, as if, like they themselves have really important things to say and can teach you things, right? Like, I think a lot of times in life, we are very combative. We take a very combative approach to life in general, right? To injury, to aging, to working, to relationship. Like, things are hard, right? You have to fight for what you want. You have to fight cancer. You have to fight, like, do you know what I mean? Like, there's just languaging around it that is very, like, you have to work. You have to push against something. And maybe I'm not being specific, and maybe I'm losing you guys here along the way. So just try to stick with me, because I promise it'll come back around. But I think that this fighting, pushing back against what you want or what you're trying to get or what you're trying to achieve is so conditioned in us that that's how we talk to ourselves, right? Like, in the generalized culture that we live in our world, in our society, this is a meritocracy. You fight, you pull yourself up by the bootstraps and you work your way to success, and you have grit and power and drive. And while all those things are like very special qualities to have in many scenarios, I think the approach of living in an American world and making it for yourself and living a quote unquote successful life is combative by nature. Is fighting to do so and working extremely hard to do so. And your perception is your reality, right? So if you think that it's going to be hard to do something, it will be. If you think that life is a fight, it will be. And so same with parts of your body, right? Back to personifying these parts of your body, like becoming friends with and becoming like releasing the pressure, releasing the pushback. It's as simple as saying, what is it as simple as saying? I don't know. Let's see. What's a good mantra? I hear you. I'm listening to you. I work alongside you. I work alongside you is a good one. We work together. This is as easy as we want it to be. Do you see how I'm giving like a we? This is as easy as we want it to be. So you're personifying other parts of your being, other parts of your consciousness, in order to approach the world as a unit, as a team. Maybe that's inclusive of spirit, of source, whatever. But like, this is as easy as we choose it to be. Snowball into third word of advice, which I just said, which is probably, if not the most important thing that I've learned. Your perception is your reality. Let that sink in. Your perception is your reality. I say that on almost every single episode because holy fuck, once you get that through our thick little skull of ours, it makes a difference, okay? So the way that you perceive the world, and so it is the way that the world will exist to you. And a lot of that comes from a lot of subconscious programming in your mind that we are working as conscious and aware beings to deprogram, to unravel a lot of this conditioning that we've been handed to us, right? It's the nature versus nurture question. How much is my choice versus what's been given to me? How much is environment versus genetics? All those things that program you as a person to interpret the world. And so when you look around, so much of your interpretation happens without you even consciously recognizing it. But so much of your interpretation, the more you become aware of that prior statement, can be changed, can be altered, can be shifted into a new paradigm of, I'm going to perceive the world exactly how I want to perceive it. I'm going to perceive that life is easy. I'm going to perceive that money comes effortless to me and I don't have to work that hard. I'm going to perceive that everything is happening as it should. I'm going to perceive that it's a beautiful day and the breeze is on my skin and the sun is out. And there's a such thing as like toxic positivity and perceiving everything as bright and airy and everything is good, right? We know that. We know that life is fucking hard and not everything is good. And the perception is sometimes negative, and that's helpful for your storyline. That's helpful for the experience that you create as this human living on planet Earth. But this perception deeply comes from the way that you talk to yourself, from the languaging that you use in your mind, the languaging that either deprograms or continues to solidify and carve through those neural pathways. And yeah, so the way that you talk to yourself matters. The way that you perceive the world matters. And we have control. We can change those things. We can change the fact that we don't love our bodies, right? Like, let's take that for example, because this is something that I've been working on a lot, is my physical form in the world. God, this is like, we're going right in. Get on in, diving the deep end with me. But my physical form is always something that I think everyone questions, how it is involved in the experience of life. And how do I learn to love it? How do I learn to connect with it, right? So I am someone who just very blatantly will always, quote unquote, struggle with vanity. I think a lot about the way that I look. And whether that's been taught to me or whether that's me enhancing those thoughts by giving a fuck about how people perceive me, I don't know. We don't need to get into unraveling those thoughts. But the point is that like I am someone who oftentimes thinks about how I'm being perceived, who cares about the way that I look. And I talk badly to myself about my body and about the pimple on my face and about the thinness of my hair and about the, frailness of my, who fucking knows, like anyone could make up any number of things that they don't like about themselves that apparently, quote unquote, other people are perceiving as negative as well, which oftentimes is not true. But again, going back to perception as reality, if my perception of myself is that I am not thin enough, my hair is not long enough, my skin is not clear enough, then so be it. my body will physiologically manifest those things. I will hold on to stress and I will hold on to weight. I will produce cortisol in my body, which will show itself as acne on my skin. I will lose hair when I'm in the shower. Like, my body will physiologically respond to the thoughts that I feed it. Fact. And I will walk around the world. I will show myself to people with an aura, an air, an energy of a lack of confidence, of a lack of loving myself, which is very clear when someone walks around and you can tell that they're uncomfortable in their own skin, they're uncomfortable in their own body. And it's not that you have to walk around as the most confident, perfect person in the entire world. But the point is that then will spiral and lead to different opportunities, different doors, different connections. And so my perception of myself being negative will lead to a reality of myself in the world as such. If I start changing the way that I talk to myself and I say, instead of "God, my thighs are so big," it's "these thighs, these legs have taken me through oceans, up mountains, across countries and continents. My hair being so thin, this hair can be curled and styled and worn in many different ways. My skin sees the sun and feels the breeze. My body nourishes me in ways that I can't even express or realize until I do." And with that being said, then you walk around the world and your shoulders are held high and you start to interpret the world differently. Your reality becomes different because you love yourself. You love what your body does for you, not what it looks like. So that's just one example of your perception as your reality. Pause for beverage of the week sip. Ooh, really hot. I think what I will also notice as I'm giving these points of like things that I've learned in 28 years is that all of them are interconnected. This is a holistic model of how everything is everything. Everything builds together. And I think a point that I want to lean into that has been so prominent in my life in my 28 years is my network and my people and my friends and my relationships. And for me, that's always stuck out to me as a big purpose in my life is I would have chosen social scenarios, deepening and developing relationships, and not just like intimate, platonic, familial, like all of these relationships over so many other things, right? Over studying, over who fucking knows, anything else I could put below, I would, right? And I would always prioritize relationships. And I realized that I'm such a culmination. I'm such an expression of all of those different relationships. And so are you. Every single person that you have in your life that you take the time to develop a really special relationship with. And it's not necessarily like special meaning must require an insane quantity of time, because everyone knows those relationships where the quality is so deep and prominent and potent, but you've met that person once or twice, or you've spent a couple hours with that person, but you know that that person is an expander. They've changed you. There's a podcast that I used to listen to way back when called To Be Magnetic, and she talks a lot about like people being expanders for you. And essentially, people expanding the way that you think, people expanding the way that you experience life. And so my relationships, my people around me have given me so much solace in the way that I experience life. Like my relationships, I cherish so deeply. And they've created me to be the version I am of myself. And I think that for so long in my life, I was prioritizing relationships that exhausted me and didn't make me feel good. And maybe were just like socially convenient, or I just wasn't really thinking about how much power that relationship had on me. Hope my microphone's working. Yep, it is. Hope. I don't know. I just set this up and started rocking within 5 minutes of getting here. But I think when I was growing up, at least, and a lot of this is anecdotal stories that maybe you'll be able to resonate or not resonate with, right? But your story is different. When I was growing up, I was always the social floater. So I had all these different groups of people, all these different ages, all these different genders and demographics. And I never felt welcomed into just one because I was all over the map, which at some point that made me feel really exhausted. That I was shapeshifting my identity between all these different groups, and I couldn't figure out which one felt most like me because I was the party girl, and then I was the yoga girl, and then I was the art girl, and then I was the theater girl, and then I was, like all these different quote unquote roles and identities that, yes, are all an expression of me, but which ones were kind of like forcing the hand versus my organic expression. So number one, I felt a little exhausted by all the shape shifting. And number two, I felt like I was exerting and not getting anything back. I was giving in these relationships as the comedian, as the entertainer, as the person who was just like, hey, Jess is here. And I would leave these social scenarios and just be like, oh, I gotta go to sleep, bro. I'm fucking tired, man. And the older I've gotten, the more that I've realized that like I can be really specific about how I select the people that are in my life. I can set boundaries about people that don't make me feel good. And I will throw this out as a shout out to all the friends that I have now in my life from near and far. My global network of people that I've met while traveling to all these countries, and my Colorado girls and my college friends and my hometown friends. Like, I'm so fucking lucky that now I understand what constitutes someone who lights your soul up, someone who expands you. And so a call to action to take a big survey of the people around you that build you to who you are, the people around you that create you, create your values, create your morals, create your priorities, create the way that you talk to yourself for sure. Like, they enhance this concept of your perception is your reality, right? Because what's within you surrounds you. And my high school guidance counselor taught me that quote: what's within you surrounds you. And that's a very cyclical form, a cyclical saying, right? Is that what's within me, I attract. But what surrounds me becomes me. So your friends, your people around you matter so deeply. And they are one of the most important parts of this life, is to cherish and nourish and enjoy and play in these relationships. They're not always that serious. And another thing about these relationships, I think for a while too, I thought that maybe all my relationships needed to meet me where I was at, right? Like, I would maybe be frustrated if I left time with a friend where I didn't feel emotionally, mentally, spiritually challenged per se. I didn't feel like that person was able or willing to talk about the things that I cared about. It felt superficial. It felt materialistic. It felt like, okay, we're just going out to get drinks, like boring, not on my level. And what I quickly realized is that that makes me just as quote unquote bad as how I perceived that person. Less than, lower than me. You need people all across the map in your friendships. You need those friends where you just go out and you talk shit and you have some drinks. You need those friends where you stay up till the wee hours of the night talking about the astrological placements and levels of consciousness on different planets. You need those friends where you can disagree politically, where you can talk about the social climate and you can hear different perspectives. You need friends who, yes, will support you, but the key to expansion, the key to being an expansive person in someone else's life, is introducing them to perspectives, whether intentionally or unintentionally, that they have yet to consider and think about. And if you are receptive to having friends of, again, all different ages, all different demographics, all different social circles, you're going to learn a fuck of a lot about yourself. Relationships are mirrors. You can only have relationships that are as deep as you have with yourself. So the deeper you get with yourself, the deeper you get with your friends, your family, your loved ones, your partners. Period. And that's on period. Okay? Snowball. Next point. Everyone's a fucking mirror for you. Everybody's a mirror. And sometimes you look really shitty in the reflection. Like, need I say more? Stop pointing fingers at other people being the problem, bro. Stop it. Stop it. It's probably you. Okay? And that's a tough reality to swallow. Because way back to the initial point of this conversation is that, like, let's let go of the things that we can't control. What are you in control of? You're in control of you. You're in control of you. So when someone gives you an opportunity by reflecting to you things that trigger you, things that light you up, things that evoke something in you, some type of emotion, like, it's not them. It's almost like a thank you for showing me this about myself that I can dig deeper in. And I think one of the most powerful places to do that are your intimate relationships. And this goes for, I'm going to speak in the lens of me and my romantic relationships as a monogamous person, but you can have this power of intimacy in any capacity, right? Like in any form of heterosexual, homosexual, polygamous, monogamous, polyamorous, polygamous, who fucking cares? You know what I mean? I'm trying to be inclusive here of saying that this is my truth. It might not be everyone else's truth. But the point being, my intimate relationships, my partner relationships, me and my mans, all my mans over the years. Yes, this is for all my mans over the years. All my lovers have made me who I am today because you have such a sacred space to see yourself in someone else. And that's not the point of a monogamous relationship, right? It's not just so like, how am I going to benefit from it? It's an entryway, it's a gateway to oneness, right? Alan Watts talks all about how if you go into your space of oneness and I go into my space of oneness, we come together and we create this portal of consciousness. Literally, that's what it is. It's a portal of new consciousness where you do function as an entity. Yes, you still have your individual selves outside of it, but like you do get the opportunity to see and feel and touch and experience life and consciousness in a completely different way that you don't get anywhere else unless you are in this space of intimacy and romance and love, like capital L love, bitches, capital L love. And I think that I feel like as someone who's a 7 in numerology, which if you haven't listened to the numerology episode, go fucking listen. But 7s are highly, highly intuitive, highly introspective. I mean, fuck, if you know me, baby girl's on a consistent mushroom trip. I'm always like, what, why, who, where? Let me dig deeper. Let me dig deeper. Let me dig deeper. And so I'm always doing work on myself, which is exhausting, sure. But I often look forward to and crave relationships with partners because that's an avenue that I cannot explore by myself, right? You can do as much work as you want alone, but you will never get the opportunity to explore the potential of yourself in relation to someone else intimately. Does that make sense? And I'm not forcing a relationship or forcing a hand on anyone to like go find a relationship just because of that. But I think some of the most beautiful self-work is done in partnership. And I have had many lovers across many countries. And every single one has taught me something about myself. And every single one has made me curious and has made me, yeah, just like a better fucking person for it, even if at the time it didn't feel like it. God, I have so much more to say on relationships, but I think that I'm going to table that conversation because that constitutes its own episode. But full circle, the point of any relationships, intimate, monogamous, familial, platonic, colleagues, like, let them be mirrors for you. Let them. Yes, call me Mel Robbins. Call me Mel. Let's see. What other final principles do I want to introduce for y'all? I think a big one is honesty. Oh, you be honest. It's like the number one rule when you're in like elementary school that they give you. I don't know if maybe my school was the only one that has it, but they have like school principles. Not like the principle of the school, but like moral principles of like, number 1, be honest. Number 2, be curious. Number 3, low-key, those things slapped as fuck because honesty, we're going to talk about honesty first and then we're going to talk about curiosity, but honesty, it's fucking hard to be honest, okay? It's really hard to be honest with other people. And the reason it's hard to be honest with other people is because it's hard to be honest with yourself. Honesty, I think, comes from like very Libra coded energy, being able to see things from many perspectives. That will allow you to be honest with yourself. If you have a singular viewpoint to a scenario, an experience, a situation, a person, however, you're going to be able to be objectively honest about that thing. Honesty requires a macro perspective. Honesty requires being fluid and dynamic and flexible in your mindset so that you can see things the way that other people see things, the way that nobody sees things, just outside of that like linear pigeonholed vision of your experience of said thing. Does that make sense? I'm really just like letting it fucking rip here, but I think, yeah, honesty is such an overused word, but I don't think people require or understand the work it takes to be honest and the strength it takes to be honest, because being honest really, truth hurts, bitch. Truth hurts. But the commitment to honesty is also the commitment to getting out of your own entitlement, getting out of the entitlement that the way that you see things is the way that things are. Because that's usually not it. Maybe it is for you, like the way that you see things is the way that things are. Sure, but don't you want to be able to see things from many different perspectives? Don't you want to be able to understand things differently, the way that other people understand things? So taking a long, hard look at yourself in the mirror, am I being honest about the way that I'm perceiving this? Am I being honest about the way that I act? Am I being honest about the fact that I could be the problem? Am I being honest with myself and the world around me? Because the first step is, if you're not honest with yourself, however could you expect to be honest with the world around you? And the second that like you become honest with the world around you, you inspire other people to do the same. Right? Like full circle, everything's connected. What's within you surrounds you. Your perception is your reality. And I tell people oftentimes in my yoga classes, you change the world just by being who you are. Literally, like that's not even just self-help. You change the world by being who you are. I think I've said this on another podcast before too. Like you literally walk around as a vibrational being that changes the world just by existing. So how do you exist? Especially in times where the world feels heavy, the world feels dark. There's a lot of shit going on, bro. There's a lot of stuff where it's like, how do I help? What do I do? Like, what do I do? You heal yourself. You heal yourself to heal the world. Period. Period. Yeah. Healing yourself takes a lot of work. But like, I would also like to remind people that you are healed. There's not ways that you need to like fix yourself. You're not broken. You're just coming back home to yourself. You're just coming back home to all the things that you've always known about yourself at deeper levels of consciousness. You're coming back home to very raw and real trust and honesty and curiosity and like things that maybe have gotten clouded from the way that we've been taught to live. Okay, my mug is fully broken. I'm just trying to enjoy my strawberries and cream. Oh my God. It's so hot. It's so hot. Oh, it's burning me. Oh my God. Holy shit. Okay. Anywho, my fucking armpits are sweating. The heat is triggering. I'm gonna wrap up. Maybe. God, I've got so much to say. I used to think about this. I used to go to therapy. Should probably go back, to be honest with you, because go to fucking therapy. Just go. And every single week that I used to go, I used to be like, I have literally nothing to say. I have nothing to say. And then I would get on the fucking Zoom call with this woman and not shut up for an hour. Well, I couldn't even take a breath. She's like, something. I'm like, I think that I'm realizing in this podcast that going back to therapy is probably good for me and everyone else. Call to action: go to therapy, or if you want to use me as your therapist, I've got an ear to listen. The last thing that I want to leave you on is to have fun, to be playful. Like, again, to go back to one of the very first things that I said in the beginning of this podcast about turning 28 is that everyone's just figuring it the fuck out as we go. No one knows what's going on. No one knows what's going on, okay? It doesn't matter how much they tell you they think they know. Day by day by day, everything is ever changing. Impermanence is omnipresent. You have to just fucking laugh. We get so caught up in everything being so serious and so success driven and so, like I was saying, combative and like work, this is hard, this is how it should be, this is how it should look, this is what you should achieve. Fucking forget it. Just have some fun. Okay? Things can be playful. Things can be funny. Things can be light. Yes, we know that that's not the way to live 24/7. Right? We need contrast. We need depth. We need grief. We need sadness. We need fear to be able to show us the light. But it's a reminder that we all have such beautiful childlike energy within us. We all have that naivety, that playfulness, that just joyous semblance of who cares? Who cares? And that's not in a way of feeling ignorant about how difficult life can be. I'm not trying to undermine the real life difficult problems that people have on their hands, whether that's putting food on the table, whether that's finding safety, whether that's, making it alive day by day. Like, I understand that, but I will never forget. I went to Africa when I was in high school. And I would love to go back. But one of the things that we did was we went to a village and we visited a school. And these children, I would say maybe the ages of like 3 to 7, right? Like little youngins. And these kids are sick and they have nothing. They don't even have pencils to write with. The school is falling apart. The water's dirty. I mean, you would look at them and you would feel bad for them because they don't live the quality of life that we live. But these were the happiest kids I've ever seen in my whole life. They were dancing, they were singing, they were performing for me. Couldn't speak a word of English, obviously, but just this like energetic exchange of these kids were the most playful, happy, joyous children. And maybe it's because they didn't even know what they didn't have. But the point being is that you can be playful and you can be joyous no matter what. It's a choice to wake up and look around and perceive the world as optimistic and your glass is half full and life is what you make it. And hard shit's going to get thrown at you. But here we are, let it rock. This was a crazy solo episode. I have no idea what I said. Channeled some of it, let some of it rip off the chest. I'm feeling like I'm in a pretty vulnerable space right now. Again, being home, having some pretty important doctor's visits. Just like life is really lifing as it does. But here we go. We keep on moving forward. Life doesn't stop. And lead with a sense of gratitude and playfulness, and everything will be good. So I love you guys. Missed you this week, Amanda. And I can't wait to see what we do for you next week. And have a beautiful, beautiful Tuesday.